When the players step onto the first tee at the Old Course, they'll be greeted by one of the widest fairways in golf. The opening hole does not feature any bunkers, but any thoughts that it might be considered a pushover are dispelled the closer you get to the green. The first was the 12th most difficult hole during the 2010 Open, and the prime reason was the Swilcan Burn, which crosses the fairway just in front of the green. Countless players have hit their second shot into this iconic hazard. The safest way to play the hole is to aim for the back of the green, but that means a potential 3-putt, as many have found to their cost. It's often said the secret to playing the Old Course is to stay out of the bunkers. That becomes clear on the second, where the tee shot has to avoid Cheap's bunker on the left and a further 3 down the right. The second features the first of the Old Course's 7 double greens. It shares the same putting surface as the 16th and is severely undulating and protected by a deep ridge which guards the front of the green and will catch any shot that comes up short. The safest approach used to be down the right, but that side is now guarded by 2 bunkers moved closer to the green. Local caddies will tell you the safest line from the tee on many holes is down the left. But the quid pro quo is that anything hit left often leads to a more difficult shot into the green. That is certainly the case on the third, where Cartgate bunker to the left of the green is the major hazard. Arguably, the best tee shots will skirt the bunkers set into the right-hand side of the fairway, leaving a relatively straightforward approach into a green shared with the 15th. Any player who finds sand from the tee will almost certainly drop a shot. The fourth presents a similar challenge to the third, in as much as a drive down the right is more risky, but does open up the shot to the green. A tee shot onto the plateau down the left takes the fairway bunkers out of play, but means the approach shot will have to skirt a large mound and a deep bunker in order to reach the putting surface. The bunker in question, which eats into the left-hand side of the green, is another of those hazards which players need to avoid at all costs. The fourth was the 4th most difficult hole during the 2010 Championship, although Louis Oosthuizen played it in 1 under par on his way to collecting the Claret Jug. The par 5 fifth was the easiest hole during the 2010 Open, and 5 years later will remain a good birdie opportunity in all but the most inclement weather. Players who avoid the Seven Sisters bunkers down the right of the fairway will have the choice of laying up short of the Spectacles bunkers, or else going for the green too. The majority will opt for the latter choice, although the shot is made more difficult because it is blind and has to carry a deep swale just short of the green. The green itself is 100 yards deep, so club selection is crucial. 5 years ago, the first of the Old Course's 2 par 5s yielded 146 birdies and 13 eagles. The 6th hole features a blind drive over a mound to a fairway littered with bunkers. A successful tee shot has to be threaded through the gap between the coffin bunkers on the left and a further 6 traps on the right, leaving a relatively short approach to a green protected by a swale at the front and gorse bushes to the rear. The green itself is the 5th of the Old Course's 7 double greens, all of which add up to 18. For example, the 2nd is shared with the 16th, the 3rd is shared with the 15th, and the 6th doubles up with the 12th. The 7th is another hole where accuracy from the tee is paramount. The best line is a little to the left of the flag on the 11th green. Players then turn about 45 degrees to the right and look across the 11th fairway to a green which slopes from left to right and is protected by a single bunker on each side. The bigger hitters also have to be wary of driving into the massive shell bunker, which sits out of sight some distance short of the putting surface. Tiger Woods hit a 3-wood 310 yards into it during the first round of his victory in 2005, but still managed a birdie after hitting his recovery to 4 feet. The Old Course only features 2 par 3s, and both will play to 174 yards at this year's championship. The 8th is the first of the 6 holes to be played back towards the old grey tomb of St Andrews. The strength and direction of the wind could mean competitors will have to select their club wisely in order to avoid cavernous bunkers which guard the front of the green. More often than not, the 8th is played downwind, which makes it all the more difficult to hold a large green, which slopes gently from front to back. Rory McIlroy will have warm memories of the 9th. He eagled it on his way to a 9-under par 63 during the first round of the 2010 championship. McIlroy was by no means the only player to drive the green, which is why this hole yielded a total 126 birdies and played to an average of 3.743 during that championship. There is a line of dense gorse bushes and 3 bunkers down the left, but arguably the biggest threat comes from the Borses bunker and end hole bunker, which sit within a few yards of each other in the centre of the fairway. This hole is named after the legendary Bobby Jones, who won the 1927 Open and the 1930 Amateur Championship at St Andrews, and was later given the freedom of the Royal Borough of St Andrews for his massive contribution to the game. The fairway narrows at around 280 yards out with mounding on the left. The Kruger bunkers on the right and contours short of the green make it challenging for a player looking to run his approach onto the putting surface. McIlroy also birdied this hole as he came home in 30 during the first round 5 years ago. The 11th on the Old Course at St Andrews is rightly regarded among the very best short holes in golf. It can be a real card wrecker, and the secret to playing the hole is to avoid both strath and hill bunkers at all costs. The former sits at the front of the green and collects any shot that comes up short, while the latter is on the left and will probably be much more of a factor at this year's championship, as the green has been slightly recontoured on that side to create several new potential hole locations. The 12th is the shortest par 4 on the Old Course, but 5 years ago it produced more bogeys than birdies. Some will elect to try to drive the green. The safer option might be to hit a long iron down the left or right of the fairway in order to avoid a cluster of hidden bunkers and then fire a wedge into what is the shallowest green on the course. The 12th hole proved to be a pivotal hole during the 2010 championship. English challenger Paul Casey ran up a 7 after finding an unplayable lie from the tee and then overshooting the green in 3, while his playing partner Louis Oosthuizen birdied from 14 feet to open up what proved to be a decisive 8-shot lead. Locals will queue up to tell you that the 13th is one of the hardest holes on the Old Course. That was confirmed during the 2010 Open, when it was second behind only the 17th in terms of relative difficulty. The tee shot has to be threaded past the coffin bunkers, which sit in the centre left of the fairway, and the second hit over a mound to a large green. Hole across, as it is called, yielded just 24 birdies compared to 118 bogeys and 17 double bogeys. Henrik Stenson bucked that trend when he hit a 3-wood, 310 yards, and then a wedge straight to the hole for an eagle 2 during the 3rd round. The 14th is the longest hole on the Old Course and features one of its most challenging drives. Players should hit into an area known as the Elysian Fields, which sits beyond the Beardy's bunker on the left and well away from the wall that delineates out of bounds down the right. The second shot then has to be hit either over Hell Bunker or down the left, leaving a short iron into a large undulating green. Unusually for a par 5, there was just one eagle on this hole in the 2010 championship by America's Jeff Overton in the 2nd round. The drive on the 15th has to be hit straight at a church steeple between 2 round mounds, known locally as Miss Granger's Bosoms, and thought to be named after prominent local 19th century golfer Miss Agnes Granger. There are several deep pot bunkers slightly further down the fairway, while at the green another deep hazard gathers any shot hit short and slightly left. The secret here is club selection, both from the tee and into a large green, which always appears slightly closer than it actually is. There's a daunting choice on the tee of what is another of the most demanding holes on the Old Course. Either take the safe line down the left, knowing that leaves a more difficult shot into the green, or else opt for the more risky option and take on the out-of-bounds fence just down the right. Jack Nicklaus was one of a number of prominent players who preferred the former option, but whatever the choice, it is imperative to avoid a cluster of bunkers, known as the Principal's Nose, which eat into the left side of the landing area. The green itself is also well guarded by a Whig bunker at the front and another equally deep but unnamed hazard at the rear. The infamous road hole is widely regarded as the toughest par 4 in golf. The tee shot has to be hit over the railway sheds in the grounds of the Old Course Hotel, and the second then struck towards a shallow green protected by the cavernous road hole bunker at the front and a road and stone dyke at the rear. 5 years ago, Miguel Angel Jimenez won the European Tour's Shot of the Month for an improvised recovery shot off the wall, but many others have struggled in that area, not least Tom Watson, who flew the green in the final round of the 1984 championship, effectively handing the title to Seve Ballesteros. The 18th hole in the Old Course has witnessed much drama over the years, with more sure to follow this year when it hosts the Open for a 29th time. The road, which bisects both the 1st and 18th fairways on the Old Course, is, like the road on the 17th, designated as an integral part of the course, so any ball that lands on it must be played as it lies. Many believe the best line from the tee is towards the clock on the R&A clubhouse. The second must clear a deep hollow known as the Valley of Sin. Famously, back in 1995, Constantino Rocca holed the second of his 2 shots from the Valley of Sin to get into a playoff against John Daly.